American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all come down like blues on.
Good evening, motherfucking time heads. It's time for episode 112 of American Timelines.
That's how we're going to start it?
That's how we just started it.
All right, I'm Amy, and that's Joe.
Oh, real cordial.
Yep.
Real nice of you.
Yep.
Tell everybody who we are.
And
What if I'm Marvin Stinkbottom?
you're not.
Oh.
Today we're going to talk about 1968.
What if I'm Charlene Mitchell?
We're still in 1968.
We are in the hot summer of 1968.
Yes.
The summer of political national conventions.
Yes. Riots. Lots of riots.
Assassinations. Martin Luther King Jr. just got killed.
Mm-hmm.
And then last month, RFK got killed.
Lots of rioting.
People were wondering if they should even bother going on with life because everything was so tragic, and there's murders, and there's buses flying off of cliffs everywhere, airplane crashes. But now we're going to jump into July of 1968.
Yep.
Sunday, July 7th, 1968, the Communist Party USA nominated a presidential candidate for the first time since Earl Browder ran in 1940,
Really?
choosing 38-year-old Charlene Mitchell as the first African-American woman to run for president of the United States.
Oh, wow.
Concluding its 4-day convention at the Diplomat Hotel in Harlem, her running mate, Michael Zagarel, was a 23-year-old white man from Brooklyn, younger than the constitutionally required age of 35. The Mitchell and Zagarel ticket on the ballot only in New York would receive 1,077 of the 73 million votes
that are
in the election.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's pretty low.
Also that same day, 26 people were killed and 11 others seriously injured in the town of Natagaima in Colombia when the bus they were riding struck a bridge abatement and then plunged over a cliff.
Jeez. The bridges and the buses.
Buses over cliffs.
Yes.
Yeah. It was just in the 60s. That's all it was.
It's crazy. I never knew such an epidemic.
You had a better chance of falling off a cliff in a bus in the 60s than you did of bowling a 200?
What?
I don't know. Or a better chance of falling off a bus on a mountain and dying than dying in a car crash, maybe? Or dying in a...
I don't think so.
Falling off a... having a heart attack? I don't
know what you're trying to say.
Friday, July 12th, 1968, the attempted hijacking of Delta Airlines Flight 977 was foiled by members of the crew.
Good.
U.S. Senator James O. Eastland of Mississippi and hijacker Orrin Daniel Richards were among the 48 passengers on the flight from Philadelphia to Houston. Carrying a .45 caliber pistol, Richards forced his way into the cockpit and ordered the pilot, Captain Forrest Dines, to divert the plane to Cuba. The flight engineer, Glenn Smith, calmly talked to Richards and persuaded him to drop the weapon, then continued the conversation until Richards had calmed down. The Convair 880 then made a landing in Miami, where Richards was arrested. The event was believed to be the first hijacking thwarted in flight.
Really? That's good.
Yep. Richards, a former mental patient, would be found incompetent to stand trial and would later be committed to the U.S. Medical Center for Federal Prisoners in Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, he must have been real wackadoodle. Because
is that a scientific term?
Yeah.
Wackadoodle?
It's hard to plead insanity and have that.
Yeah, he probably wasn't. I mean,
yeah,
you got to be pretty nuts to hijack a plane, I would say.
I would think.
And then that Sunday, July 14th, 2 spectators were killed and 27 others injured at the Berlin Raceway in Marne, Michigan. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's Marne, M-A-R-N-E.
Okay.
We'll never know. There's no way to find out. When a race car crashed into the grandstand after its driver lost control.
God. Really?
Yeah. The 18-year-old driver who was thrown from the car as it rear-ended another racer sustained only minor injuries.
Holy moly.
You imagine watching a race and all of a sudden a race car comes flying at you?
Yeah.
Kills you?
That would
Be an interesting way to go.
be a little bit startling.
And that brings us right away to Wednesday, July 17th. And I understand that you, my beautiful young bride, have a little story to share.
Stella and I have a story.
Stella, our daughter / dog, and you have a story.
Yes.
She's sitting on your lap, falling asleep.
Yeah. So first I'm going to go forward. I'm going to kind of jump back and forth in time a little bit here.
Oh, we're going to do some time jumping? Mm-hmm. Kind of like Quantum Leap?
Kind of, yeah, a little bit.
Or something?
I'm going to tell the story of the Torso Ripper.
Gross.
Yeah.
The Torso Ripper.
Yeah.
What? What the hell's the Torso Ripper?
Yeah, you'll find out. So
Is this guy who rips people's nipples off or what?
So I got my information from NJ.com, which stands for New Jersey, Wikipedia, Murderpedia, and criminalintrigued.com.
Okay. Visit those fine places
All right.
for
So
knowledge.
first we're going to start on May 22nd, 1980.
Oh, May 22nd, 1980. Wait, we're going to jump to the same day that popular talk show host Phil Donahue and television actress Marlo Thomas were married?
Yes.
We're jumping. You're just saying we're jumping to the same day that Pac-Man, the highest grossing arcade game of all time, was test marketed by Namco in Japan?
Yes.
That same day?
Yes.
So those things are happening. Phil Donahue is making love to his wife he just married,
Okay.
and Pac-Man's being played. And what happened?
So it's early morning. A couple decides to check into a Quality Inn hotel.
Oh, Quality Inn. There's a chance that's the same hotel that Phil Donahue's at.
They had met a few hours earlier in Manhattan.
Okay.
The young lady, Leslie Ann Odell,
Okay.
had told the man that she had arrived in New York earlier that week, but she had quickly found herself trafficked into sex work and threatened by area pimps.
Oh, just the second she got there, huh?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So the man listened and suggested he could drive her to a bus terminal in New Jersey to get her back home away from her abusive pimp.
Oh, no.
Before-
That's terrible.
Before doing so, she agreed to have sex with the man for a price, and they went to check in.
So she's going to just go ahead and dabble
Yeah.
in the sex work.
I guess. Soon after, the 18-year-old girl's screams began to echo through the halls of the hotel.
Not screams of pleasure.
No. Staff were already nervous after a woman of similar age had been found beaten, strangled, and stuffed underneath the bed a few weeks earlier.
At the same hotel?
Yeah. So they decided to call the police.
Oh, boy, yeah. They're on edge already. Maybe they got the guy.
Hearing sirens, the man tried to escape, but was apprehended quickly.
Okay.
Leslie
Guess
Ann
that's
Odell
good.
reported that the man seemed nice enough at first. Once in the room, he offered the exhausted Odell a massage, which she accepted. He climbed on her back and suddenly got a knife out and pressed it to her throat.
Oh, that's not a good massage. He doesn't even know how to do it.
Quickly put handcuffs on her and began torturing her, biting, and raping and beating her.
That's definitely not a massage.
That's definitely not.
That doesn't feel good at all.
She recalled him saying, "You have to take it. The other girls did. You have to take it too. You're a whore and you have to be punished."
Oh, boy.
In custody, the man was identified as Richard Francis Cottingham,
Richard Francis Cottingham.
a father of 3 from Lodi, New Jersey.
Okay.
In his possession, police found a kill kit, which
Kill kit?
which included handcuffs, leather gags, slave collars, knives, pistols, and pills.
Oh, boy. Now, why would the pills be in the kill kit?
Because you
Like
went
you
drug
force-
somebody.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
Bill
you
Co-
do with a Bill
It's now called
Cosby.
you Bill Cosby somebody.
Yeah.
Now, is kill kit, is that the standard name for these
Yeah.
things? Everybody call it like, that's the lingo?
Yes.
Okay. What was the other lingo that you had the other day? It was,
You gonna make fun of me now?
no, I just can't, I still...
Rigor, full rigor.
Full rigor, yeah. That's still my favorite.
Authorities began to question whether this was the same man who committed the other brutal crime just weeks ago
Yeah.
at the same hotel.
I have a hunch that it would be.
And-
That's what I would say.
And if he had killed others. Richard Cottingham,
Richard
we'll
Cottingham.
go into a little bit of his background. He was born on November 25th, 1946 in Bronx, New Jersey.
Oh, wait.
I mean, New York.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Bronx, New York. You're saying he was born the same day that President Truman issued Executive Order 9806, creating the 6-member Temporary Commission of Employee Loyalty that would root out suspected communists?
Yes, I am saying that.
Wow.
He grew up in a typical Catholic household. In 1958, at the age of 12, his family moved to Rivervale, New Jersey.
Seems fine. It seems plausible.
This move was difficult for Richard, and he was reported to be a loner with very few, if any, friends.
A loner with a boner.
He mainly stayed at home and became obsessed with bondage pornography.
Oh, wait. How would you even get that?
Magazines, I guess.
In the 60s.
I don't know.
Or the 50s or the 40s or whenever.
50s.
50.
When he entered
Gross.
high school, he began to come out of his shell socially.
Oh, that's nice of the man. And he showed people his bondage porn?
I don't know. He graduated in 1964 and soon after took a job with his father at the MetLife Insurance Company working on the company's computers.
Okay. You know, this is why nobody will trust an insurance salesman after this story.
He'd eventually leave the company and start working for Blue Cross, where he continued to work until his arrest.
Oh, okay.
Richard met his future wife and was married on May 3rd, 1970.
Wait, he married his wife the same day that To Rome with Love was on TV? That was starring John Forsythe and Joyce Menges. It's a story about after his wife dies, Michael Endicott leaves Iowa with his 3 daughters to accept a teaching position at the American Overseas School in Rome, Italy?
Yes. The couple had 3 children.
Okay.
Richard Cottingham.
Richard Cottingham.
Married with 3 children.
Married his wife, and then they had 3 kids.
It seemed that Richard was a normal guy with a steady job and a family.
Well, that's not going to be true.
Beneath the happy exterior, though, there was an incredibly dangerous and vicious person who lacked empathy and cared only for satisfying his sexual desires.
It sounds like a Cadbury cream egg. On the outside, it's chocolate.
Yes.
On the inside is all that stuff that you said.
Right.
But it's delicious.
It is unknown how many victims Richard had. He claims to have murdered between 80 to 100 women.
Oh, man, that's a lot of women.
One of his earliest crimes was committed on October 28th, 1967.
Wait, one of his earliest murders was committed the same night that on My Three Sons, Ernie's new playmate Mike likes to pull childish pranks that upset the Douglas family, and then Robbie goes to talk to Mike's parents, only to learn that Mike doesn't have a mother, and that Mike is actually a girl named Michelle. Unfortunately, Michelle's father treats her like his son rather than his daughter, only talking about sports and other boy things, so the Douglases try to bring out her feminine side that same night.
Did you just make that whole thing up?
No, that's actually all true.
Really?
I didn't even, there's no 69 here or anything.
I know.
Also the same day that Julia Roberts was born in Smyrna, Georgia.
Yes.
Your favorite actress of all time?
Nancy Vogel, 29, told friends she was going to play bingo at the local church.
That's probably a lie.
Instead, she ended up shopping at the mall.
I know it. You know what? Women in those days would lie about things and then go play.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
At the mall, Cottingham abducted Vogel and took her to a field in Montvale where he strangled her. Vogel was found dead in her car, nude and bound. Police had no suspects, and the case quickly became cold.
Well, why would she lie about going to the mall anyway?
Maybe she just changed her mind.
Oh, so it's not necessarily a lie.
Right. On July 17th, 1968, which is where we are now.
Oh, yeah, here we are, July 17th, 1968. What you're about to tell me happened the same day that National Airlines Flight 1064 from L.A. to New Orleans was hijacked shortly after it had stopped at Houston. Just 35 minutes before the DC-8 jet reached New Orleans, a passenger holding a hand grenade took control and diverted the flight to Cuba.
Really?
Yep. And at Havana, Cuban authorities transferred the other 56 passengers to a U.S. government-chartered, propeller-driven DC-7, and they were flown to Miami to catch a flight to their original destination. The crew of the DC-8 flew back to Miami separately. Also, the same day...
Well, wait a minute. Did they catch the hijacker?
That's... I don't...
You don't know?
That's all I have.
Oh, okay.
That's all. It was just on Wikipedia. I didn't look it up. It was like a side thing. Also, that same day, Yellow Submarine, a psychedelic animated film that was inspired by the 1966 song of the same name, premiered at the London Pavilion that same day?
Yes.
This happened?
Yes. Jacqueline Harp of Midland Park was walking home from band practice when a strange man, Cottingham, tried to coax her into his car.
Dude.
Knowing better, Harp, just 13 years old, refused.
That's good. She had good parents.
Cottingham persisted. He drove his car ahead of Harp, pulled over, and walked back toward her.
That son of a bitch.
And even though Harp ran, Cottingham soon overtook her and dragged her into a group of bushes.
Ah, shit.
Harp was found strangled to death the next day.
I don't like that.
Police were unable to find any suspects to this crime, and it also became cold. On April 7th, 1969...
Oh, my God. There's a lot. This guy's doing a lot. April 7th, 1969, the same day that Imogene Coca and Robert Goulet were on the Carol Burnett show.
Yes. Cottingham saw Irene Blaze, 18, shopping at in Hackensack. Soon, Cottingham persuaded Blaze to go for a drink with him. Taking a bus to another location, Cottingham and Blaze spent some time together.
Blaze is a cool name.
After their drink, Cottingham offered to bring Blaze back to the bus station where they had taken the bus. Blaze was found strangled to death in 4 feet of water in Saddle River the next day.
This guy needs to knock this shit off. I'm not liking this guy.
On July 14th, 1969.
Oh, the same day that Clarence died, who was 7 years old, an American lion who had appeared in the 1965 children's film Clarence, the Cross-Eyed Lion, and 4 seasons in the CBS television show Daktari.
Yes.
Same day he died? Sucks.
Denise Velasco was walking by the side of the road in Emerson when Cottingham pulled up beside her and offered her a ride. Velasco, 15, accepted. She was found strangled to death the next day in Saddlebrook. So Richard's criminal activity continued undetected in 1969 when he was convicted of driving while intoxicated in New York. So he got picked up for that. Then 3 years later, in 1972, Richard was caught shoplifting from a local store. It's unclear what he was stealing.
It's weird he gets caught for drinking and driving and shoplifting, but not murdering women.
The following year, in 1973, a victim reported that he had attacked her. He was charged in that crime with robbery, sodomy, and sexual assault, but all charges were ultimately dismissed.
Why?
As time went on and he wasn't caught, Richard became increasingly more deranged. He would continue daily to his job in New York, but sometimes he would go out after work. He would stalk different bars in Manhattan, preying on unsuspecting women who were trying to unwind after a busy day.
Do you think his coworkers knew, like, that guy's probably killing people? Like, we've all known those people. Like, that guy's...
Something's wrong with him. Once he chose a victim, he would attempt to slip a drug in their drink, then take them to a motel where he would sexually torture them for hours. A year after the previous arrest, he was charged with unlawful imprisonment and robbery. A few months later, he was also charged with robbery and sodomy, but both cases from 1974 were dismissed again.
They got to stop dismissing these cases, man.
Then on December 15th, 1977...
Oh, the same night that a Sweat Hog Christmas special was on?
Oh, my God.
And Welcome Back, Cotter.
Obviously.
And on What's Happening, Raj, Rerun, and Dwayne gave their teacher, Mrs. Collins, a gift, an empty box, but then felt guilty later?
Yes.
That same day?
Richard claimed his next murder victim. He abducted 26-year-old Mary Ann Carr and brought her to a hotel. Once inside, Richard tortured her repeatedly, beating, biting, cutting, and raping her.
Oh, I bet she wished she was watching a Sweat Hog Christmas special instead of that.
He restrained her and ended up strangling her, ending her life. She was dumped along a chain-link fence near the apartment complex he used to live in, the ligature still around her neck.
Oh, man.
While he didn't kill anyone that is known in 1978, he did rape and torture 2 more women, one of whom had been pregnant. In 1979, Richard abducted a teenage sex worker named Helen Sykes from Times Square.
What?
She would later be found in Queens, horribly mutilated. Her legs had been severed and dumped a few blocks away. Her throat had been cut so severely that it nearly severed her head.
Gross.
Richard's wife, incidentally, filed for divorce in 1979 after a string of affairs, but the divorce hadn't been finalized.
Wait. She's divorcing over the affairs,
Yes.
not the murders?
She doesn't know about the murders.
How can you not know?
I know.
She had to be in denial, right?
I think.
I mean, denial ain't just a river in China.
Richard's most vicious attack to date occurred on December 2nd, 1979.
Wait, his what attack?
Most vicious.
His most vicious attack happened the same night that on Mork and Mindy, Mindy's level of annoyance with Exodore hits an all-time high when he invites himself and his new girlfriend Ambrosia to dinner. She was played by character actress Georgia Engel. Everybody knows her. She's been on many things. Mm-hmm. That same night that was on Mork and Mindy, that poor victim could have just been watching Mork and Mindy and been happy.
All right. Dita Godarzi, I think is how you say this.
That's exactly probably right.
And another unknown female had joined Richard in a hotel room near Times Square.
Oh, boy.
Once inside, Richard bound them both and tortured them for 2 hours.
You know, you can have a lot more fun with ladies if you're not murdering them.
It's unclear how exactly he killed the 2 women, but he did sever their heads and hands. Then he lit the bodies on fire and fled the scene.
Jeez.
Firefighters responded quickly and put out the fire, but were stunned at the sight of the mutilated corpses. The case was soon linked to that of Helen Sykes, which led police to believe they were dealing with a serial killer.
Definitely a serial killer. And I wonder how many of these that he's done that nobody even knows
I know.
about.
The severed body parts were never located, and it is unclear what Richard did with them.
Oh, gross. What did he do with those body parts?
In May of 1980, Richard committed 2 more murders just weeks apart from each other. The first was that of Valerie Ann Street. Like other victims, she too had been bound with handcuffs and tortured. Her body would be found covered in bite marks. She died of asphyxiation and stuffed under the hotel bed. Hotel workers found the body while vacuuming. Can you imagine that?
Gross.
It reminds me of when your
my stepdad worked at a hotel. He
used to find
always
dead bodies
found
and
dead
stuff.
bodies.
Her arms were still
He'd
handcuffed.
always try to give me their shoes and stuff.
Her arms were still handcuffed behind her back. Police were finally able to link Richard to the crime because of his fingerprints were found on the handcuffs.
Oh, they were, huh?
Yes.
Finally getting close to this guy.
This was also the same hotel where Richard was eventually apprehended.
Okay, so that was his favorite.
The
place to
following
murder
week, on May 15th, 1980.
people. Oh, wait. Are you going to tell me something that happened the same night that on the Ropers, Helen and her sisters are shocked by their elderly mother wanting to have a wake for herself?
Yes.
She invites others to say goodbye in advance. Also, Jeffrey throws his back out and is trapped in a chair on the Ropers.
Yes.
Instead of watching the Ropers, something else happened?
Another sex worker, Jean Rayner, was lured into a Manhattan motel room where she was called by a John. She was ambushed by Cottingham, who locked the door. She was raped, stabbed, mutilated, and tortured. Richard cut her breasts off and strangled her.
What?
Her body was also left in the room, which was set afire by Cottingham before he fled the scene.
Your boobs would be cut off and on fire if she would have just stayed home and watched the Ropers instead. All of that would have been saved.
That's right. Investigators were able again to quickly link this murder with many others that with the same MO.
You know, they should have said, the commercial should have said, keep your boobs, watch the Ropers.
Authorities were quickly able to build a case against Richard. They obtained a search warrant of his home and found his trophy room, which contained multiple personal items of past victims.
Oh, I bet all kinds of gross body parts and everything else, huh?
One of Cottingham's only admissions of guilt was, "I have a problem with women."
Yep.
Weeks-
You think?
Weeks after
jackass?
his arrest, his wife was finally able to finalize the divorce. Multiple trials were held, and he'd eventually be found guilty in all of them. Evidence was plentiful. Cottingham had receipts with his writing, which linked him to the hotel rooms.
Yeah.
There were fingerprints and testimony from 3 different survivors.
Why would he keep those receipts,
I know,
jackass?
idiot.
He didn't have like a boob or anything like that
No.
other guy who kept a boob
No.
on the mantle.
No. He was charged with the murders of most of his victims in New York and New Jersey. After one of his trials, Richard smashed his glasses and attempted to take his own life, but was unsuccessful. He will spend the rest of his life in prison. By his own admission, Richard Cottingham claims to have killed upward of 100 women and remains a suspect in dozens of unsolved cases. He eventually admitted guilt in 2010 to the 1967 cold case of Nancy Vogel. Although Vogel was the earliest of Cottingham's murder victims, the killer has said she was not his first. A killing in Somerset County a week after Cottingham got his driver's license may have been one of his first victims. That girl was found drowned. Much of Cottingham's crimes were not murders, but other violent crimes like abductions and rapes. His proclivity toward violence and the lack of solid profiling tactics for serial killers made authorities believe that Cottingham's claims of 100 victims might be possible. And that's the story of Richard Cottingham, the Torso Ripper.
Gross. That guy's awful and gross. It's crazy how the crimes changed as they went by. And like,
Yeah, well, they got more deranged.
yeah, well, with all these guys, like think of all the ones that if they would have caught him, or like all those ones that they just dismiss
Yeah,
all the cases and stuff, and they had the guy.
yeah,
They had him, and they just let him go, and all these other ones happened.
yeah.
We should sue.
I
Is he still alive?
think so. I think he's in jail.
He's in jail, and I bet
Yeah.
he's getting conjugal visits left and right from
Ew,
crazies.
he's gross. He looks like a big fat pervert Santa Claus.
No, that's what I like.
That's your type.
Big fat pervert Santa Claus looking guys are my favorite. Well, that brings us to July 20th, 1968. Good work. Good
Thank
work.
you.
Good sleuthing. Good internet grazing. On Saturday, July 20th, Hugh Masekela takes over the #1 spot, grazing in the grass. Also, that same day, the first Special Olympics games were held.
Aw.
As 1,000 developmentally, as they said then, developmentally disabled American and Canadian children,
Yeah.
which is now American and Canadian children with developmental disabilities, between the ages of 8 and 18, competed during the one-day event at Soldier Field in Chicago.
Well, that's cool.
The event, organized by Eunice Kennedy Shriver, would be celebrated 40 years later as one of the most prominent and celebrated sporting programs in the entire world. With programs...
Very cool.
Yeah, well, anyway. Yeah, that's fine. And then Monday, July 22nd, 1968, Virginia Slim cigarettes, a tobacco marketed as the choice of a modern woman, were introduced by the Benson & Hedges Company with the slogan,
You've come a long way, baby.
Yeah, you do.
Yep.
The product test marketed in San Francisco before being rolled out nationwide. You remember that, huh? Mm-hmm. That make you want to smoke those?
No, I just saw it. I just remember seeing it on billboards and stuff.
Come a long way, baby. Now smoke these.
Yep. And
then Tuesday, July 23rd, 10 people were killed and 18 others wounded as police in Cleveland and a black nationalist militant group fought a gun battle in the Glenview section of the predominantly black east side of the Ohio City near the corner of East 105th Street and Superior Avenue.
Oh, okay.
The violence started at 8:30 in the evening at Lakeview and Arbondale Avenues when 5 men with automatic rifles fired at a police car and a tow truck that had arrived to tow away an abandoned car, followed by a sniper fire from the apartment houses above the intersection. And then on August 2nd, 1968, a suicidal pilot stole a Cessna 180 airplane from an airstrip at Jean, Nevada.
Oh.
Or Jean, Nevada, it's Jean. Then flew to Las Vegas and crashed into the top of what was at the time the tallest building in the metropolitan area, the 30-story tall Landmark Hotel and Casino in Paradise. The wreckage then fell onto the adjacent Las Vegas Convention Center. The pilot was killed, but nobody on the ground was injured.
Oh, my God. That's lucky.
Yep. It was 39-year-old Everett Wayne Shaw, a mechanic depressed by the breakup of his month-long marriage, stole the plane as part of a suicide attempt. He flew the plane toward the Landmark Tower, and they think he pulled up just before hitting it, and so it brushed the top of the tower before crashing into the convention center across the street. So he probably was changing his mind at the last minute.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill all these people, I guess. And then Saturday, August 3rd, 1968, the Doors take over the number 1 spot on the Billboard charts with Hello, I Love You.
Won't you tell me your name?
And 2 days later, on Monday, August 5th, Luther Perkins, 40-year-old American country music guitarist for Johnny Cash, died 2 days after being injured in a fire at his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Perkins had fallen asleep while smoking a cigarette.
Oh, people used to go like that.
There's a lot more of that than there is now.
Yeah.
Amazing how many people fall asleep smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Wednesday, the 7th of August, former U.S. Vice President Richard M. Nixon completed a dramatic political comeback by being nominated for president of the Republican National Convention on the first ballot.
Oh.
Needing 667 delegate votes, Nixon clinched the nomination when the roll call reached the 49th of the 50 state delegations and was given all 30 of Wisconsin's votes. He finished with 692. New York Governor Nelson A. Rockefeller was second with 287. And California Governor Ronald Reagan received 182.
I guess I didn't realize that Rockefeller ran for president.
Yeah. Well,
but I think that...
Yeah, I was running for the nomination. And then Thursday on the 8th, Maryland Governor Spiro Agnew was selected by Richard Nixon to be his choice for vice presidential running mate. And then Friday, August 9th, this is just one birthday. Well, 2 people's birthday, but I only kept this in there because I think it's interesting that they were both born on the same day.
All
Gillian Anderson and Eric Bana.
God.
Born on the same day.
Who cares?
They could be twins. You don't know.
No.
You don't want to know that they're born on the same day?
No.
And then Saturday, August 10th, Piedmont Airlines Flight 230 crashed short of the runway while approaching Charleston, West Virginia at the end of its flight from Cincinnati, and only 2 passengers out of the 37 people aboard survived.
Wow.
But 2 of them did survive. The Piedmont Airlines, according to mywvhome.com, the Piedmont Airlines twin-engine prop jet, groping through thick morning fog, slammed into the hillside overlooking Coonskin Park. The shattered airliner bounced and burned off the side of the main runway. 32 passengers and crew members were killed outright. The survivors were rushed to Charleston hospitals by a howling stream of ambulances, along with 7 other pronounced dead on arrival. About 20 bodies were trapped in the burning plane and had to be pried from the crumpled wreckage with cranes.
Jeez.
Debris, luggage, mailbags, and personal effects were strewn in a grisly 100-yard-long path from the edge of the Coonskin Ravine. The airliner hit short and to the right of the main runway, another 50 yards of altitude, and it would have landed on the level grassy strip adjoining the 150-yard wide concrete strip. An airport official said that from the appearance of the bodies, most of the victims died from the impact and not from the fire.
Oh, man.
Yeah, most of the victims were trapped inside the burning fuselage. The injured were pulled away from the blaze by passengers of a private plane waiting at the north end taxiway for the Piedmont flight to land.
So other passengers saved them?
Yeah, these rich people waiting for a private plane all came out and started helping them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they made a temporary morgue in the National Guard hangar less than half a mile away. They said fog was kind of to blame, I think. I had another bit about it. There's the two survivors. I looked into them because I thought, can you imagine what they must have went through? But neither one of them remember anything.
Oh, really?
They don't remember anything of it. Yeah, the one woke up and she had like that white foam that they spray on you to put out fires.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she remembers them spraying that on her, but she didn't remember anything else. And then Wednesday, August 14th, all 21 people on board a L.A. Airways helicopter were killed when the Sikorsky S-61 broke apart while flying the group of vacationers from the L.A. International Airport to Disneyland.
This is just now the podcast of murders and crashes.
Murders and crashes, yeah.
It's pretty much all it is.
Yeah, the wreckage fell onto a playground at Loiters Park in Compton. One of the victims was the teenage grandson of the L.A. Airways shuttle director. Moments before the crash on the playground, a group of children who had been playing at the site had been led to safety by a 14-year-old National Youth Corps volunteer.
Jeez.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's from gendisasters.com, they go into kind of grisly detail.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's what we want. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, you love the grisly detail. So apparently, according to that website, the body of the pilot was partway out of the cockpit and his head was resting on the ground, said Don Rosting, 28 of Linwood, a mechanic at a nearby transmission shop. His hair was on fire, Rosting said.
Oh, my God.
We tried to spray him with extinguishers, but the flames swept right over him. God bless that man, said a witness, Jonathan Dollar, 46, about the pilot. He tried to the very end to keep that copter airborne.
Wow.
Yeah, they all said it was really gruesome to see him there because he looked like he was alive, but he had no expression on his face. So
yeah.
I think he was dead, and everybody was with his hair on fire.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oops.
You all right?
Yeah, my phone went.
And then Saturday, August 17th, while the Young Rascals' People Got to Be Free took over the #1 spot on the Billboard charts, actress Mia Farrow flew from New York to El Paso, Texas, then went across the border to the neighboring city of Ciudad Juarez in Mexico. 30 minutes later, she was granted a divorce from singer Frank Sinatra, whom she had married in December.
That's quick. That's a quickie marriage.
Yeah, it's a quick marriage. She was, what was she? Was 21 and he was 50.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, gross.
Yeah, gross.
And that makes you realize how old Frank Sinatra was. In 1968, he was 50.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we knew him as, he was a million.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. And later, she said that, she was just immature and he was mad because she did Rosemary's Baby and stuff like that.
He's probably real controlling, I bet.
It sounded like he was. Yeah, he wanted her to give up her acting career, and she had agreed for a while, but then she got tired of doing nothing, so she signed on to Rosemary's Baby, and that kind of
pissed him off.
Pissed him off, and yeah, so he served her divorce papers then. And then Wednesday, August 21st, a riot at the Ohio Penitentiary in Columbus was brought to an end at 2:45 in the afternoon, and 9 guards were rescued after having been held hostage for 30 hours.
Ugh.
More than 300 of the 2,500 inmates had seized control of the prison after a guard was overpowered by a prisoner and had his keys taken.
Oh, man.
After a spokesman for the inmates threatened to burn the hostages to death if more demands were not met, prison warden Marion J. Kolaski delivered an ultimatum at 2:30 and told the rebels that he was giving them one last chance to release the guards, and they had 15 minutes to respond. When the hostages were not released after 15 minutes, officers detonated dynamite outside the cell walls, and seconds later, in the roof over the cell block. 5 inmates were shot and killed by the SWAT team during the rescue.
Whoa.
Yeah.
They should make
just
a
get
movie
some
about
fucking
that.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
I bet they have.
I don't know. Maybe.
Isn't that what Orange is the New Black is based on?
Could be. You remember the show Prisoner Cell Block H?
No.
That was on in the 70s.
I don't remember that.
It was a late night show.
Wasn't there a whole...
It was a women's prison show.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't there a whole season of Orange is the New Black that was just a prison riot or a prison hostage situation, I think?
That's when it got real stupid.
Yeah. And then Thursday, August 22nd, 1968, Ringo Starr temporarily quit the Beatles during the recording of the White Album.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the drum track for Back in the USSR was played by Paul McCartney because Ringo left. On August 22nd, following an argument with McCartney over the drum part for this song, Ringo walked out on the Beatles. He flew to Sardinia for a holiday to consider his future. While there, he received a telegram from his bandmate saying, "You're the best rock and roll drummer in the world. Come on home, we love you." On his return, he found his drum kit covered with flowers. A banner above read, "Welcome back." According to UltimateClassicRock.com, Ringo said, "I felt I wasn't playing great, and I also felt that the other 3 were really happy, and I was an outsider. I went to see John, who had been living in my apartment in Montague Square with Yoko since he moved out of Kenwood. I said, I'm leaving the group because I'm not playing well, and I feel unloved and out of it, and you 3 are really close." And John said, "Oh, I thought it was you 3 that are real close." He felt like the outsider. So then he went over to Paul McCartney's and knocked on his door, and he said the same thing. "I'm leaving the band. I think you 3 are close, and I'm out of it." And Paul said, "Oh, I thought it was you 3.
Oh.
So they all thought they were the outsiders, I guess, because they're probably on so many drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then Monday, August 26th, 1968, violence erupted between Vietnam War protesters and police at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
On the... Oh, wait, I got this out of order. Yeah. Oh, no, that's right. And by Wednesday, the 28th, U.S. Vice President Hubert H. Humphrey was nominated as the Democratic Party's candidate for president on the first ballot of the National Convention in Chicago. Eugene McCarthy was also running, but McCarthy was second, and then McGovern was after that. Afterward, after different speakers at Chicago's Grant Park addressed a crowd of 15,000 anti-war protesters, a crowd of about 1,500 people marched along Michigan Avenue toward the convention site at the International Amphitheater where the convention was taking place, protesting Humphrey's nomination. The Chicago police confronted and attacked the protesters with billy clubs and tear gas at various places between the park and the convention center as violence reached its peak. 7 months later, a group of protest leaders designated as the Chicago Seven and an 8th leader, Bobby Seale, would be indicted on federal charges of crossing state lines in an attempt to incite a riot.
Yep.
As one historian would later note, millions of Americans turned on their televisions expecting to see Hubert Humphrey win the Democratic presidential nomination, but saw the network's cutaway to live coverage of the riots. Recognizing what was happening, the protesters began to chant, "The whole world is watching."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty
intense.
Pretty intense and historical and groundbreaking and blah, blah, blah. And then Friday, August 30th,
Yes.
William Tallman died.
I don't know who that is.
He was a 53-year-old American actor, best known for portraying television's Biggest Loser as Los Angeles prosecutor Hamilton Berger, who was bested every week by the title character on the popular mystery and courtroom series Perry Mason. 6 weeks before his death from lung cancer, Tallman, who had smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day,
Jesus, how could you do that?
filmed a 60-second television commercial for the American Cancer Society urging viewers to avoid cigarette smoking, and would set a precedent for other such warnings for beyond the grave. I feel like I remember that one.
No, Yul Brynner's the one you remember.
Oh, it is? Mm-hmm. Who was really sick? Like, oh, okay, I thought that was this one. But that, yeah, with just trying to imagine someone smoking 3 packs in a day.
How can you? You'd have to get up in the middle of the night and several times and smoke a cigarette.
No, you just have to be smoking all the time. Like
you could do 3 packs.
If you keep smoking them.
Chain smoking.
Yeah, you smoke one,
I would
you
think
put it
you'd
out,
have
you
to
smoke
get
another
up,
one.
get up in the middle of the night and do it.
Well, each pack has 20. So
There probably is people that get up in the middle of the night and smoke.
Oh, there probably is because they need it so bad. I remember when I worked at gas station in college, there was this little skeevy guy that came in every day and bought 2 packs of Marlboro Reds every single day.
I bet he stunk too.
Oh yeah, but first thing in the morning, he'd come and buy a cup of coffee and 2
packs of Marlboro
and he needed 2 more the next day because he smoked them all. And he didn't give a fuck. Like he
Yeah.
clearly didn't care. He, didn't,
Right.
he wanted to die probably, but I always thought, why wouldn't you buy a carton if you're gonna buy 2 packs every single day? Just buy a carton.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
But he, it would seem to be for him. That seemed to be like his ritual. Like it was his tradition, his ritual. Like he wanted to come in. He was real nice. He'd talk to me and everything. And he just wanted to say hello, and that was like part of his day is me giving him. So when I saw him coming, I'd just have his Marlboro Reds ready for him and his whatever. He'd come up and get his coffee, and
Kind of a Hallmark commercial, babe.
I'd have it wrung out for him already.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that guy's name was, but he looked like I think he looked like Willie Nelson, kind of.
Okay. All right.
Then I had sex with him.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that
anyway,
it?
That's it. That's
All
all.
right.
That's
That
July and
sounds
August.
good.
That's
I'm
2 more
done.
months. All right. Now we're in the fall.
Yes.
Of
now we're in
1968.
September.
Thank you for listening, time heads or jerk heads or whatever you want to be
No,
called.
we're not
Time
calling any of
heads.
that.
American Timelines, the greatest podcast ever. You like history. That's why you listen. You like the history part and you deal with the awful, gross rapes and murders. Or maybe you love the also awful, gross rapes and murders and the body parts on fire and all that bullshit. And then you just sit through all my stupid bullshit history stuff.
And your plane crashes and stuff. It's like, that's much better.
Well, that's why I kept those in there, because you like gore and gross, awful suffering, right? Is that what you like?
No.
I'm just trying to understand you.
I know. It's time to get out of here, Chuck Berry.
I love you.
I love you.
We're so tired of hearing about
Eat shit, Dan Briggs.
I said we're so tired of hearing about the 60s. When you were all along the watchtower, kissing the sky. Well, I was barely a glimmer in my young daddy's eye. I said that we're so tired of hearing about the 60s. One more time, I said we're so tired of hearing about the 60s. Well, make me shut my mouth now.
Ellen asked you Alice versus Chelsea Town. Now you're stealing coffee morning for the president's ball. Well,
We're so tired of hearing about the 60s.
American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
Talk about pork.